Tonight on It's the Law, we're continuing our bankruptcy discussion. Last week we talked about when and why people file. Tonight we're going a little more in depth, and attorney Jay Davis is here to weigh in. Jay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I know you were out last week. We had one of your associates here, but we talked about bankruptcy, when and why you file. But one of the things we thought about was student loans. If you file, what happens to them? Are they forgiven?
Student loans generally are not dischargeable in a bankruptcy. There are certain circumstances. Not all loans that are given for school are student loans officially, government-backed student loans. Okay. Those are the ones that are government-backed are the ones that are not generally dischargeable. Okay. However, if you show a hardship, there is a caveat in the law that allows if you show the hardship, they can be discharged and you won't have to worry about them anymore. But that's extremely hard to do. Normally you get them deferred while you're in a bankruptcy. Okay. Chapter 7 will end and you'll go ahead and pay them how you want to. Okay. In a Chapter 13, you cannot pay them in a bankruptcy without giving some consideration to your other creditors.
During that deferment, you may or may not know this, but do they have, will you accrue more interest over that time period?
Typically those don't stop accruing interest.
All right, so that's a tough situation to be in.
Maybe the penalties would not be there, but the interest would.
Okay, and also staying on the subject of bankruptcy, but this time moving to child support. If you are a parent and you are paying child support, what happens then? Are you forgiven over that money?
You're not forgiven. Generally, a child support obligation, something that's ongoing like that you have a duty to do. Okay. It's not forgiven in a bankruptcy, and generally in a Chapter 13, for you to get the discharge on your other assets, your other debts, you have to be current on your child support. So they'll send notice out to whoever the person is that's receiving your child support payments and make sure that you're either current or they say the deficiency, and then in Chapter 13 you would pay out the deficiency.
Okay, and kind of, if I could talk right now, going off of that, yeah, I know, right, today. It's been one of those days. Child support is something that was brought up by another viewer asking if a child's over 18 and his or her parent has not paid support for several years, could that child sue for the money that's owed?
Not typically the child, but the parent could still sue for that money that's owed. And if the parent that is owed the child support wants to delegate that to the child, they could. The child support obligation never stops. If it's accrued, it accrues while it's accruing. We also talked with the same viewer, I believe, who was asking about generally if somebody was in jail or not. Right. The question comes down to, was there a child support obligation? You might have gone all the way up to a child becoming 18. If there was never an order of the court, it's not accruing. You can't go back and get it. Okay. But if there's an order of the court, it will accrue, and if it's not paid, it will be there indefinitely.
And quickly, tell us a little bit about what we can see this weekend on your It's the Law 30-minute segment.
It's the Law this weekend is going to be where we're going to talk about different things, some of it in bankruptcy, some general areas of law. The biggest thing is going to be DUI. What do you do? Everybody asks, what do you do when you get stopped? Should you do the field sobriety test? Should you not? We're going to go into those kind of things. In October, don't forget, we're going into what happens when abuse of power happens. All right, some interesting topics. Cops, those things. What happens when they don't act like they're supposed to?
All right, I'm going to have to tune in. And remember, you can tune in too. Jay and his legal experts are here every Saturday on My 41.2 at 3 p.m. and on Sundays at 6 p.m. right here on 41 NBC. And don't forget, if you've got a legal question for Jay, you can email us at itsthelaw@41nbc.com and we will answer it right here on the news at 6.